Come on. Ooh, pretty old. Here underlies a vessel containing memories of 2000. In celebration of the school's sesquicentenary, it is to be raised in the year of 2025. This year! I wonder when. That's what it says. I wonder what's under our very feet this very moment. I can tell you it hasn't been opened yet because it's already 2025. Anyways, it's been here for 175 years.
Oh, she was the talk of the town, was she, when she came?
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I used to say there's a new school teacher in town.
Yes.
About 32 years in total. That's with bits and pieces here and there.
And tell us about how you came to be at Merriwa.
Well, we had to say where we wanted to go teaching after our training. I think I must have put country because we were supposed to do country service 3 years. And I got a telegram at the end of January one year, 1957, to say you have been appointed as assistant teacher at Merriwa Central School. And I thought, where the devil is Merriwa? Anyway, I looked up the map and found it. So my lovely father drove me up.
And what kept you at Merriwa for the duration of your time at Merriwa?
My time at Merriwa
community?
Well, to start with, it was love for the school, and the children were so lovely after the initial shock of having a few of them jump out the window and go home.
Did that happen to you too? I don't believe it. They went home?
Yes. I won't name the families. And there was one boy...
My dad?
No, it wasn't your dad. And one of the boys, I got him just as he was jumping off the edge of the veranda. Grabbed his hand and he managed to give me a good kick through the rail. But anyway, we ended up good friends. He always says hello to me by my maiden name when he comes. But then I met a nice young fellow at a dance at the settlement hall, and we were married for nearly 60 years, about 3 months off 60.
Yes, it was always, I had a lot of work to do before I went to school. So it was I generally got there about 5 to 9, or when the bell was ringing, but it was always because I had to do the shopping, and we lived in William Street, and so it was down the street and do the shopping, and also make all the beds and everything before I went, because my mother had arthritis and she was, but she did improve after a while, but it was always, I always was doing something, and it just, yeah, although I feel that I wasn't stopped from, because I never missed a dance, but it was just, I've been trying to think of the children that I had to look after at school when there was no teachers. But I can't recall any of the teachers that used to come if there was a necessity, but there was Mr. Thorpe was the headmaster, and he had 5 in 6th class because there was no high school then, and then he'd go between the 4th and 5th ones, and then Pat Malone and I were the same age. That Pat didn't have any control over them, and but they never played up on me.
Would you like to introduce yourself and how have you become a Merriwa Central School sister?
My name's Mark Inder. I started here in school in 1969. In kindergarten, I can't remember much about it really. And I went all my schooling here to year 10.
I'm Jill Inder, but I was Jill Leggett when I went to school, and I started here in 1943 till 1950, and then I went to Muscle.
You go first. I started at Merriwa Central School in 1961.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, I started in 1985, but then I was permanent in 1991, I think.
What did you teach?
Well, when I first was there, I was just helping kids that were struggling, and I was just doing, and going into classes and whatever. And then I was teaching. I know I had a split class with Ros Frame at one stage, teaching geography. That was fun. Not the bit about Ros, but teaching geography was fun.
When I came here, there were 2 teachers and the principal on the secondary staff. So the other teacher had the English, history and those things, and I had science and maths.
The important stuff.
And to teach the science, the Bunsen burners were Methodist spirit thingos, and I'd been teaching in Sydney for 2 years, and I didn't have a clue with these things. But we got there.
They weren't very hot though, were they?
No.
It was a bit like a tea light candle.
So my role is President of Merriwa Central School PNC.
I'm the Fundraising Officer for 2025. I am one of the Vice Presidents for 2025. And I am the other Vice President for 2025.
Well, I think it should be the hub of things. I don't know, I just think that the community should support the school as much as they can. And I don't think as many parents take an interest, as many that could take an interest. But they should, because, we're going to lose it if we don't get in there and stick behind it.
I think it's traditionally it's always just been recognised because it's a huge employer, that it's a central part of the town. People, people from out of town, people in town. It's a whole community's, centre. And people are certainly supportive. I know You know, when we were there, we had a brilliant PNC and we had brilliant parents who would help with anything like excursions and come on excursions, organise excursions, you know, do the catering, and and they also had a major impact on keeping the egg farm going.
I don't think in the last few years it hasn't meant quite as much. I was very disappointed when we started busing kids out of town. The school went down after that.
But we recovered.
We did recover, and we had some brilliant results with not just HSC, but kids who found employment that they were after, not that they just drifted into. We had some good kids, we had some good parents. I educated my 4 kids at Merriwa Central School. They've all got what they wanted to get as far as employment and so forth. They've all got degrees, which that doesn't matter so much these days, but I wouldn't send them anywhere else.
What do you think Merriwa Central means to the community?
Oh, I think this school's the heart of the community.
Yeah.
I think you can see that just through everyone's connection with all different parts of Merriwa. Like, I remember when I was here, I used to deliver the ringer once a week.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd go around to every local business and you'd meet everyone and everyone knew about your life. Maybe that was a bad thing sometimes. Everyone knew a bit too much information, but generally it was really nice. And it meant that I got my first job here, and people would keep up to date with what I was up to at school. And then when I went away to study, there was a lot of support. I used to come back here and work in my uni holidays, and people were always checking in and making sure that, you know, you were doing the right thing. And that was really nice. And I think that just goes to show that this school is the heart of a community. Like, most people, they either went here or they know people that go to school here, and you know, 175 years is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I reckon we can do another 175.
I reckon so.
In the valley where the hunter winds, beneath the skies of sapphire hue, there stands a school with steady fast soul, Mary proud and true. Its story starts in simpler days, when chalk met slate and boots met dust, a single room, a teacher's gaze, of learning born of trust. The paddock stretched beyond the gate, with cattle lowing in the breeze, and children came from farms and fate to read beneath the trees. The town was small, the dreams were wide, each desk a launch into the world. With books and maps and rural pride, young minds unfurled and swirled. Through drought and flood, through war and peace, the school stood firm, a guiding flame, its mission clear, let learning cease to ever be the same. The decades passed, the buildings grew, from timber halls to modern wings, yet still the spirit, strong and true, was found in simple things. A teacher's voice, a student's laugh, the echo of a footy cheer, the scribbled notes, the photographs of friends from yesteryear. Agriculture found its place, with hands in soil and hearts in land. Science met a farmer's grace, and learning walked hand in hand. The art took root in painted walls, in music rooms and drama plays, where stories bloomed in echoed halls and voices found their praise. From infant steps to teenage strides, each year a chapter bold and bright, with uniforms and country pride and futures taking flight. The staff a tapestry of care, of mentors, guides and quiet might, who saw the spark, who placed it there, and helped to burn the light. And oh, sports days, fierce and fun, their houses clad in colours loud, where ribbons flew and races run, made every student proud. The libraries hush, the playgrounds roar, the tucked-up tales, the lunchtime crew. The friendship formed forevermore, each memory stitched in blue. Now generations walk the halls where once their parents learned to dream, and Merriwa still proudly calls them part of its great team. It's more than bricks, it's more than books, it's laughter shared and lessons earned. It's knowing what a moment looks when something deep is learned. So here to Merriwa Central's name, a beacon in the country's heart, a school of grit, of grace, of flame, of learning as an art. May future voices rise and sing, of paddocks wide and skies so clear, of every hope that school can bring, and all we hold most dear.
I started when I was nearly 9 because I lived out of town, out at Tarnup, and we moved into town out to Price's Lane, and we had Gordon, my eldest brother. We walked, and Colin, he had just started, and June wasn't going to school then. But I remember walking, and the plovers used to take to us, coming down through the paddock past the hospital there. But it was,
That'd be a few kilometres. Like it's a long way.
Yeah, from there. But we came through the paddocks past the hospital.
Still a way to walk.
And it was just quite, but I enjoyed school, probably because we were having correspondence, and I never was in third class because I was in second with correspondence, and I sort of went straight up to fourth. So yes, it was, but it wasn't hard for me to learn. Miss Thorpe was always saying, you should go to high school. I said, there's no way that I can go to and board and leave Mum, which I'd got exempt from school to help look after. So we just, I finished school in the May, and the war ended in August.
Yeah. How did the war affect coming to school?
Oh, well, it was, and there was, that was one of the things we used to do. If the siren went, the kids used to have to get under the desk in the yard. But there was a trench too from the front towards because there was only the 3 rooms. None of those infants classes wasn't there then.
So this is on the current side of the primary school? Or was it it is there?
Yeah.
Where the primary school is now?
Yeah.
Where you went to school?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. And
and they had a trench?
It was if the siren went, they had to get them out. But I sort of think it only happened the once, because once it went off, but the trench was full of water because it was it been raining, so we didn't do it then.
Go swimming.
Yeah. It was, but it wouldn't have been enough to hold all the school. But the older ones, they used to have to get under the desk and things like that. But yes, it's just, but I remember when Darwin was attacked, Mr. Thorpe, he was so angry. He made a speech that Mr. Shipley was sending the steel to Japan, and they were sending it back in bombs. And he gave us this speech. I can still see his angry face. It's just things that really stick in my mind.
So David, when did you start Merriwa School?
I started in kindergarten, so it would have been 1994, maybe, or 3, a long time ago.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, a long time ago. And the school looks a lot different than it does now, but still beautiful.
Yeah, that's good. Reflecting back.
Started kindergarten in 1990 and went all the way through to year 12, finishing in 2002. I was a student from 1994 to 2001. Started in kindergarten in 1993 and graduated high school in 2005.
So as a year advisor, I took the whole groups on excursions every year, and just to give them an experience. And I know that there were a lot of kids when we went to Sydney that had never been on a train and had never been to Sydney, hadn't been to the beach, hadn't been on those sorts of things. And as well as those sorts of excursions, to give exposure to the kids to a different atmosphere and different communities. We had, teaching science, for example, taking kids to Mount Seaview to experience the actual beautiful Antarctic beach and beach forests, and going to Port Macquarie to do the rock platforms and study that sort of things. And besides the fact that we had to camp for a week just about, I mean, it was a really good excursion, But the one excursion that I think also that we had, I don't know how many years you might remember, was the Country Needs excursion to Birong Boys, where we went down one year and stayed down there, and they came up alternate years, and they had exposure to our way of life, which they'd never seen before, and our kids got to do lots of things that they hadn't experienced before, going to mosques, temples, and
probably wouldn't even do as adults.
No, well, you don't have the opportunity to do it. It was access, and this is where, like, the community came in. They were so fabulous in looking after and feeding
Kylie
those
and
students.
Gwen.
Yes, the PNC at that stage. It was amazing. They were amazing excursions.
I spent 12 months as careers advisor, and when it came to work experience, I encouraged them to look beyond the hills of Merriwa, and I had students in positions in Muswell, Newcastle, some in Sydney, further afield, and I tried to get to each one of them while they were working to make sure that they were safe and that they were enjoying it, and also interview the employees that they were, or no matter where you took kids from Merriwa, their behaviour was always excellent, and we got lots of feedback where people were very impressed with our students, so yes.
Yes, we had a church service. We used to go to the Catholic Church for a service and to the Church of England. And the boys seemed to want to play up one day at one of the services. Anyway, they got sent out by the teachers, and I happened to be filling in as deputy at the time, and I was supposed to deal with it. And the punishment was, in those days, the cane. So many whacks, which which I was very happy about doing. But anyway, I did do it. Much to my disgust, the first time I've ever caned anybody. 2 or 3 I haven't got to go to. But it was horrible. And I wouldn't recommend that to anybody.
Look at this book, it's doesn't look very good. Punishment 1960. 2 canes for disruptive behaviour. 4 canes for eating gum and telling lies. 2 canes for animal noises. 2 canes for furniture, and then 6 for... Anyway, naughty. Here.
2 canes for smoking in toilets, 4 canes for throwing firecrackers in the girls' toilets. 2 canes for taking girls' hats, 3 canes for threatening teachers, 4 canes for taunting from lessons, and 2 canes for continued rudeness.
I wonder if they're candy canes. Yeah, I wonder if they're candy canes.
Oh, we should be naughty every day. I think we should just be good.
But you're the principal, the mum will be the one to give it to you.
Oh no, no devices. Let's just try once.
I'd rather not. You can.
Oh, I think the friends and was always, and nothing really seemed hard for me, but I didn't like English. There were so many words that were spelt different that meant the same thing. That I just, apart from that, I was always good at sums, arithmetic and spelling, and I always was the first to put my hand up. But Mr. Thorpe used to say, we'll get somebody else to answer that one. But and Mrs. Thorpe was our sewing teacher, and she taught me how to knit, and the first thing I knitted was a pair of pink bed tops. And sewing, I kept the handkerchief that we had to make. I kept that for years. I had it. It probably fell to pieces. I don't know, but I always got on well. And when Pat and I left school, well, Pat didn't leave at that time, but we planted a big gum tree down, but it's been cut down.
Oh, no.
Yes.
They've had to cut a lot of the trees down because they fall, the branches.
I think it must have had something that was dropping its branches.
I can't remember the primary years as well as the high school, but definitely in high school, a lot of the teachers who were actually some of my mum and dad's teachers, such as Mrs. Johnson and Phil Martin, going to ag shows and just spending time with friends and hanging around up. You know, you kind of had different areas where you would spend your time, like where the old Coke machine was. That was one area at the end of the old Great Hall, and how everyone had kind of come together during breaks. And Corinda steer show, I can remember actually Mark Campbell and I were school captain and vice captain, and 2 kids from the country were let loose in Sydney to go to Government House. We piggybacked onto another excursion and we were just kind of sent off in the big city by ourselves. I vaguely remember we went to the Government House and then somehow ended up at the top of Centrepoint Tower. And we made it home obviously, but just things like that you think back and you say, oh, that's right, we did that.
Primary school would have to be the fife band, and Mrs. Leggett. She was my grade 1 teacher. I think group 2 is probably embedded in my brain forever, but loved being part of the fife band. Also primary school, I think the pinnacle of the day was being the one chosen to ring that bell at the end of recess and lunch. So you just had to make sure you're in the right spot at the right time to get picked. High school had some really lovely teachers that I've continued to keep in touch with over the years. Some attended my wedding. I was really lucky. Mrs. Amdiy, which I've been told to call her Pam now, she came to visit me in hospital a couple of days after having my first child. So some really special relationships formed at school and then continued to support me after I left.
Primary school was the fife band and the choir. An awful trip to Myuna Bay where they made us do all sorts of things that were way up in the trees, and I'm terrified of heights. I remember that vividly. I got stuck on the cargo net, couldn't get down. High school, I made lifelong friends in high school. Lots of excursions that were heaps of fun. Lots of teachers that became friends after I finished school, and yeah, graduation was good.
Well, I can talk about the fife band, but I wasn't the instigator of that. Jeff Falk and I started that, and he was a wonderful boss. And then Alan Hindley took it over, I think, when he left. And I think Doreen Flood had something to do with it before I ever did. And somehow I acquired it. And then I kept it on. Kept it going, yes. And we had lots of performances at different places. Went to Newcastle and lots of performing arts. We went to play in the car park at Cardiff, I think it was, in Newcastle at one stage. And the Marching Koalas were playing just before or after us. That was exciting. It was good for the children. And the boys had to practice their drumming, walking around the playground with me, so that they were up to scratch. And the girls used to trail behind with their fifes. That was good.
Reflecting back, what memories stand out the most?
From school? I think the best things that I can remember is when we were in primary school, I used to love playing musical instruments, and so I was in the fife band, got to play the drums, which was a lot of fun, going away for like school debating competitions and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. And then when we were in high school, I think it was just hanging out with all my friends. And we had lots of good teachers, and they gave us a lot of good time and made sure that we were studying properly and we were prepared for all our exams and stuff. So it was a nice time. It was a lot of work, but also a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think helped you achieve your goal, and who inspired you the most?
What do I think? Oh, these are hard questions, actually. Look, I think I was lucky that I had a lot of support from school. Actually, like when I decided, I was in high school when I decided I might want to do journalism, and the school, I remember, did everything they could to help me get experience in radio. So I remember like once a week I would have a little spot on the local radio station on 2NM, and I'd go and talk about all the stuff that was happening in Merriwa, and the school would let me leave class to go and do that, and all of my school work experience. So I think just having good relationships with teachers and mentors, people to look up to, and also when I was doing all my work experience and stuff, I was working with lots of really amazing people who like inspired me to keep studying, to go to university, and keep trying to accomplish something in journalism.
A long time ago, they probably didn't have as much buildings, and I think they used whiteboards, but chalkboards with chalk. That's all. But I think the bell has been here for a long time. It looks very rusty and old. And this is the bell.
The kids in high school.
You didn't like teaching with each other?
No, that was the hard bit. She was my boss at the end, but I didn't take any notice to her.
Favourite things, yeah. What's your favourite thing?
Lots. I was going to resign for a few years in a row, but every time I thought I'd finish up, I had a class going into year 12 that were really nice kids, and so I stayed on and got them through. And yeah, sweet.
Nev started the Willow Tree bus. He started that in 58.
How did he get a hold of a bus?
Jared McRae and the committee got together and Nev went to Newcastle and bought a second-hand bus, and then they bought in the. At first, the parents had to pay, and then when the Labor government brought in the free school bus, yes. So and then we paid the bus off, and it was ours then. So yeah.
So school numbers probably increased a lot because of your husband's bus run.
Yeah, and when it started, yes, I think there was 30 families. Because they were working at properties, there was people working. I think there was 3 families at Cooley. Well, when it started, I think there was around 40, 49, nearly 50 kids anyhow. And but it did go up to 60 at one stage. And
on the one bus?
Yeah. And we had to get a new bus. And but then kids started leaving, and there was no one to take their place. So I think it was still 40-something when we sold it. So
imagine adding 40 extra kids to the population at the school. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And those kids, it would have changed their life, because otherwise they would have not have had the opportunity to keep learning had they not have had the transport to come into school.
Yep.
And that's probably why the school then became, or went to year 10 and then it became a secondary school later on.
Yeah,
Because
well,
of the abundance of children that are coming in now on properties because of the buses.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, kids are out in the country, mainly Catholic kids used to go, although most of the property children, when they started high school, they went to boarding school. So, and that happened a lot with kids that were on our bus.
Even the girls?
Yeah. Yes, they go to Lochinvar.
Yep,
What
I was
happened?
thinking about that this morning. It was July holidays in 1999, and the department had been on a mission to try and take some of our demountables, and they went through all the ones they could get, and then they got to the science lab. Lab 2. Lots of kids will remember, lots of people will remember Lab 2. The sauna in the summer and the freezer in the winter. And we didn't want them to take it because we're still, in those days, we still had 2 classes in each year. So we needed Lab 2 and needed Lab. So the town got mobilised, didn't it?
The town did. I missed a lot of it because I had to go to Newcastle to my mother. So the big things happened while I was away. But on the way back, I rang a lady at when I pulled up in Denver for a smoke. I rang a lady I knew at Sandy Hollow, and she said, "You'd better call in for a cup of tea, and I'll tell you all about it." Yes.
But the school was absolutely surrounded by trucks. It was gridlocked with trucks. No one could get in. They couldn't get in. And 4 of us, 4 ladies, experienced ladies, camped the night in the building. So if they don't take the building, they had to take us, and they certainly didn't want to do that. And eventually it ended up really well because we saved the building and we gained a student study room. But yeah, and we had police and we had NBN News. I wish you could get, have you got the cutting? It's somewhere, someone had it. Because Rod Wither was there and he was the policeman on duty. Yeah, it was pretty radical for Merriwa. It was great. And that was the day, that was when...
Apparently they raised to tell everyone what's going on.
Yeah, turn up, come on up.
Be medieval.
Well, there wasn't any other way, was it? And that was the day that Kelly had Massey. So that was very dramatic. A new baby to come back to school, and we still had our letters.
A lot of students here are given opportunities that they may not get at bigger schools. Being a smaller school, you are given those opportunities like learning to drive. We actually get a group of people out here, which is great, to help our kids gain their hours to get their Ps. That's a lifelong thing that, you know, probably wouldn't be offered at a larger school because they've got the facilities around them to do that.
I think we're very lucky at Merriwa Central School to have staff that are willing to pivot in the way of technology. Also, they're very forward-thinking in trying to work out the best experiences for the kids. That includes a lot of excursions away, whether it be whale watching, high ropes, jumping facilities, very lucky in that way that the kids get to experience all those things that we miss out on here in the country.
So as a parent of students at the school for the last 13 years, I just find it so awesome that all the staff, the teachers, the students, their ability to adapt to change. There's been so much change over the years, and I think being in the smaller school, they get a more individual approach to being taught, to learning.
I think it means just that, enduring education and managing anything that comes towards us. Through the community, we've battled many different drought, fire, floods, and education's the same. We have to just keep moving forward and making sure as the P&C, we are here to help the school as much as possible. I think it's been here for nearly 100 years, and hopefully it's here in 100 more.
I really hope that they just take away the sense of community that's at this school. That's important all through life. You know, it's good to be able to rely on your community, and being a rural school, it's very much felt. And I just hope that, you know, they leave with confidence, and that they can rely on support. Yeah.
For my kids, I just hope they leave with a sense of being able to achieve whatever it is they set their minds to be functioning members of society, and just to remember that the memories they make and the friendships they make really can last you forever, and to just really achieve whatever it is they hope to achieve.
I hope that they leave with lifelong friendships like I did, people in the community that they can depend upon, and I hope one day when they are parents themselves they can bring their kids back to the school like I have and be proud to say that they went to Merriwa Central School.
I think when my kids leave school, I want them to be grateful for the opportunities that they were given while they were at school, being that there isn't a lot of opportunity in a small school like ours. There's limited access, there's limited opportunity, and so I want them to be grateful for the effort of others that they got to experience what they did. And I also want them to have lifelong friends like I did when I left.
Myself, children were here, they got a good education. The teachers generally cared about the outcome of the students, and we were involved in the school, and that seemed to make a big difference.
Yes, I think it's very important.
I did, I enjoyed school, but I was still happy when I left.
Well, probably teaching for as long as I did, and I don't know, just meeting so many lovely people, and the children were always nice. Anyway, I did enjoy my time at Merriwa Central School, and I enjoyed all the teaching staff for the most. And the children are all, well, you always have the odd person, don't you? It doesn't quite fit into the way of things, but most of the children are beautiful, especially Merriwa. I wouldn't like to go and teach anywhere else.